last week that she would somehow make it home, but
Oh,
she hasn't.
all right.
But we heard that the coyotes are so bad. Brad was just talking to his niece. She said that they had a group of coyotes try to take a foal.
Wow.
So,
All right. I'm going to send stuff down the line.
okay.
Right, she herself, I mean, she would say she is far right. To be honest, she's always been within that political context since the age of 15. She was a member of the youth organization of the Italian social movement, which was actually directly inheriting the legacy of the fascist party, the Mussolini party. So she is far right. She's got far right ideas in social terms, in political terms, and also in economic terms.
Tomorrow we'll look at Giorgia Meloni's plans for the Italian economy and ask whether they put her on a collision course with the EU. Certainly she seems more likely to be allied with right-wing populists than centrists in the bloc.
To recap the top stories, more than 4,000 people have attended the state funeral of Japan's former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Prince William and Kate Middleton are visiting Wales for the first time as Prince and Princess of the nation. Meanwhile, UK banks and building societies have withdrawn some of their mortgage deals amid economic uncertainty, and referendums are being held in Ukraine asking whether 4 occupied areas should join Russia. That's the latest feature story news. Sally Patterson reporting.
Hi, I'm Micah Hanks, host of the Micah Hanks program, where every week we go in search of the most unusual things that our world has to offer, from unexplained aerial phenomena and ancient mysteries to the latest in science and technology. On every episode, we take you down the rabbit hole with expert interviews from scientists and authors to those who have firsthand experience with the uncanny. Join us every Wednesday at 10 p.m. right here on KCHW 102.7 Northern Lights Public Radio.
Spooky. And here we go. Good morning. It's KCHW 102.7. Scott and Val getting started on a Tuesday. We're missing Michelle. Michelle wanted a week off the morning show so she can prepare for that big fall festival. We'll be talking about that in just a little bit. If you hang out with us, we're also we should be live this morning on Facebook, YouTube, and kchw.org via video and just an audio link too, if that's a little easier. And don't forget, we got that new thing, that new app on the website lets you listen with a smartphone without having to download an app. You can just go to the website and click on the little player. So it makes it real easy if you're going out of the broadcast area. But that broadcast area is just so huge, you know, you're probably covered anyways. Good morning, Val.
Yeah, we're covered from like coast to coast right now.
Well, I'm not.
We're big time?
I think about illegally broadcasting in Maine, but I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
Maybe someday. No, don't want to fine, but that would be kind of cool.
No.
All right. I want to show, well, let's do weather first, and then I got something I want to show you via video. First up, though, today, 88 degrees for a high temperature. Wow, you guys, you heated right back up. A little final blast of summer from the looks of things. So, abundant sunshine.
Yeah, I'm ready for fall. I mean, really, this hot weather, I'm kind of done.
It started here, and I'm not enjoying it. Right. A few clouds tonight, 52 for an overnight low. Another warm one tomorrow under mostly cloudy skies, 81 degrees. Rain for Thursday, 55% chance with a high of just 62. Then for Friday, partly cloudy, 72. Into the weekend, more sunshine for you guys with a high both Saturday and Sunday of 78 under sunny skies. How nice is that? That's a perfect weekend.
It's kind of, I don't even know if we can call it, sorry, my headphones are messed up.
I see
kinda,
that.
I don't even know if we can call it an Indian summer because summer's never gone away.
It just keeps lingering. Well,
It
I would
does.
take it. We've got the leaves. I got a shot today, but I couldn't get it from my picture or my camera onto the computer in time for the show. But a great picture of the colors of the deciduous trees here changing colors. Rumor has it the leafers from New York show up this weekend.
The leafers.
The leafers, yes, that come up to see the beautiful foliage. I guess it's a thing. All right, weather out of the way real quick, community calendar stuff. 10 o'clock today, Forest Service representation at the Chihuahua Chamber office. And you can get permits and find out about areas to hike and things in the forest between 10 and 3 every Tuesday with a Forest Service representative. It's something like we'd like to continue, so go out, get out and support that. If you got some questions or stop by and say hi. I bet you've got a lot of cool information about the area. Taste of Chihuahua on Thursday, 4:30 to 8 p.m. The downtown streets of Chihuahua. This is put on annually by your Chihuahua Arts Guild. Taste of Chihuahua. Then Friday, not too many of them left. Chihuahua's Farmers Market in the Chihuahua City Park. That goes from 11 to 3:30. And then Saturday, the big deal, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Streets of Chihuahua, downtown streets of Chihuahua filled up for the Fall Festival. We've got a parade in the morning, firefighters Olympics following that, kids Olympics. Of course, all the funds raised and the booths around town going to support wildland firefighters and their families. So very, very cool. They're also going to have vendors right on Main Street. I was saying last week I can't believe DOT let them block off Main Street, but they did. And there's going to be a big, long table there where everybody can sit down together and eat, which sounds extremely fun to me. Then wrap it up with a bunch of music that Michelle's putting together. That's part of the reason why she's not going to be on some of the shows this week. Then on Sunday, 8:30 in the morning, Chihuahua Valley Lions Fall Half-Century Bike Tour. Lots of stuff going on.
Wow, got to get it all in before summer's over.
That's right. And I heard a rumor, and what a great time for it, too. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. So lucky. And Michelle was saying, she's people always say, what if the weather's bad? She goes, I have yet to put on an event where the weather was bad, and it looks like she's going to ring up another one. So very cool.
She didn't even jinx herself by saying something like that.
Yeah, I guess not. All right, very cool. I'm going to peek on Facebook and see if Ron's with us this morning. He is, and
He is.
He is. Good morning, Ron. And Ron shared a picture with me yesterday, and it really got me thinking. I'm going to go ahead and flip a couple switches. If you're watching online, what a beautiful picture. And I'm going to see if I can switch to that. Yes. All right. Can you see that city skyline?
I can.
Does
Where's
it not
at?
look like something out of a sci-fi movie?
It does.
Now, you're really
yeah.
missing out if you're not watching online. So if you see down in the bottom right, that's like a jungle that's indoors, okay?
Okay.
Then you see the three high-rise office buildings. You've got three office buildings that are identical in the shape. Each one is kind of almost in the shape of an X. And on top of it, it looks like a cruise ship, but it's an island that goes all the way across the top of the skyscrapers. And yes, you're right, Val, if you can see it up there, trees on top of that island.
Wow. Where is this?
Any guesses?
Off planet? Off planet?
It does look off planet. You see these around the country, especially in places like Dubai. This happens to be Singapore, a shot Ron took from his hotel room. Now,
Oh my gosh.
What amazes me is we have nothing even remotely close to this in America.
Is it an optical illusion, or the bottom of the building looks like it's curved?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
How did they even build
yeah.
it, right?
Exactly. And how does it stand via earthquakes and all of that?
And it just
That's
reminded
crazy.
me of how far behind America is. We don't have any cities that look like this that are, of course you can see all the smog too. But still, we don't have anything this marvelous across the country. It even pales what Las Vegas would look like. It is simply amazing.
Yeah, and if you're not able to watch us this morning,
Go back and watch the video
via
afterwards.
video, watch the video afterwards, or maybe even just Google Singapore, and you might be able to find this. But yeah, it looks like if you're if you're a Marvel nerd like me, it looks like Asgard or something like that.
Yeah, it
You
does.
would see,
I
yeah.
was thinking Star Wars, some fabulous planet or something. Totally
Yeah.
amazing. I'm just awestruck. And he said, "What a fun city as well." So, yeah, pretty.
Our world traveler, Ron,
Yes.
sharing all this awesome stuff with us.
Thank you, Ron. And yeah, our infrastructure of our country. I've talked about it before of how outdated it is. And traveling across the country, our interstate system, especially through rural America, North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, the highways in horrible shape. And I've never visited anywhere like that. I'm just totally impressed. And now I want to go to Singapore. So.
No kidding.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh? Now back to a shot that's not quite as good as that. Oh, it's me and Val. Ow!
Look away, look away.
All right. No resemblance there, but we are brother and sister.
That's just because I put on makeup.
Oh, no, if I put on makeup, I would not look any better. Trust me. I don't like how tall you are either. Can you adjust your camera? Make you a little short?
And make me a little shorter.
Yeah,
I'm sitting taller than you.
I noticed this last week, too. I am a munchkin anyways, but every time I'm on camera, I kind of look like a munchkin. But then if I put it a little lower, it like shows my microphone and my fat belly. So there we are. Now I look tall.
Oh, there you go.
I wish I could do that in real life. Adjust everybody's viewpoint of me.
Just the camera.
So I look tall and slender. No?
I always want to be able to walk around with one of the Snapchat filters or something,
Yeah.
Smooth out my wrinkles and all of that stuff.
Or those cool little avatar eyes.
There you go.
Okay, maybe they're not so cool. All right. Sad news for you. I know you're a huge Shakira fan.
I think Shakira is pretty cool.
Shakira up for 10 years in prison.
Oh, my goodness.
10
What for?
years. Could she make music? I wonder if a Spanish court on Tuesday formally ordered Colombian superstar Shakira to stand trial on accusations she has failed to pay 14.5 million euros. So that's like $20 million to me and you in income taxes. The Hips Don't Lie singer, 45, whose full name is Shakira Isabel Mubarak Ripoll, rejected in July a deal to settle the case, which meant she would have to stand trial on the case that could see her sent to prison. 8 years. Oh, that's not that bad.
No, at least it's not 10.
Yeah. Now, prosecutors actually seeking an 8-year prison term. Wow. So she skipped taxes,
Wow.
they say, between 2012 2014, which is kind of a pinnacle of her career right there, too, when she was really putting out some hits. So, yeah. It says here that during that period, she was also leading a nomadic life because of her work. And maybe that's an excuse why not to pay your taxes. I'm going to try that.
You don't feel like you're a full-time resident or something?
I've been wandering. I don't feel like I've settled anywhere, so I'm just not going to pay anything.
There you go.
I like it. I like it. All right, there's one story down. Do we want to talk about California? Nah. Rolling blackouts? More of them coming? It was just kind of a story, and I didn't realize California gets the majority of its power. I knew they did from Nevada and stuff, but from other states as well. They get a lot of power from everywhere else, and sometimes it doesn't arrive. Earlier last month, they had a text go out to all residents saying, please conserve power, expect rolling blackouts. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, we have friends in Orange County, and I guess we haven't heard anything in the last couple of weeks, but I know a couple of weeks ago they were, just rolling blackouts and asked not to charge their electric vehicles. Hey, buy electric vehicles. You can't charge them, but buy them anyway.
There's a whole nother caveat to that, isn't there?
Yeah, so they weren't supposed to charge them during peak hours. But yeah, so and it kind of goes back to what we talked about before. If you want us to do things like electric cars, there has to be the infrastructure to support electricity and all of that too. So there's never anything that's zero impact on our environment.
What I'm surprised of here in Maine is everybody is very hip to climate change and what's going on. I live in a small town, it's maybe a Chihuahua and a half. Like even the backyard of the bank solar farm, they're everywhere.
that's-
They're everywhere.
That's cool.
Especially for a state that it's flat, so there's not a lot of places to block the sun, but it's definitely not like a desert climate or like a central Washington or anything where you can really pick up on that sunlight. But they solar fields everywhere and more popping up all the time. Really impressed too that it's a statewide thing and it crosses the parties. I was at and we got food poisoning. Well, let's preface this story with that. Me and the kids went to a chili cook, a Republican Democrat chili cook-off to see who makes the best chili. We're not sure which one gave us the food poisoning.
But one of them left a bad taste in your mouth.
Yes, and I got to meet a person who's running for a state representative. He is a former general in the Army, and he was talking about some of the stuff he gets to do. He goes on a radio show in Dubai once a month, and they talk about Ukraine, him and 4 other generals, and about what's going on there. I thought that was pretty cool. And we continued to visit, and this guy's all about the environment. And not begging on Republicans, but you don't see a lot of that, but we always hear the squeaky wheels. But one of his initiatives is he wants all styrofoam products out of Maine. And Maine is one of the 5 states left that does bottle returns.
Okay.
And every town has a redemption center, every town. And he wants to bolster up the guys that are running the redemption centers because he says they don't make enough money. They get a percentage of what they take in, but he said it's hardly even worth it. So he wants to make that more worthwhile. But every town, no matter even the small ones, have these redemption centers. And he wants all styrofoam removed from Maine, and he wants any plastic. So right now it's bottles, but all plastics get a 5-cent refund. And you run into things that it's like a huge support for nonprofits. You can take your bags of Gatorade bottles. Say you're a Gatorade fan and you go through a bottle of Gatorade every other day. You can take all those bottles in and get 5 cents a piece, or you can give them to the Boy Scouts or any other church group or however you want to. And he says there's people out there in these communities that actually make a living by picking up trash and turning it in. And I think we saw some of that when we were kids. We saw some of that when we were kids.
Yeah, you got both benefits. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get people cleaning up the environment, and they're getting paid for it.
Yeah. So I was totally impressed with him, to the fact that I might even vote Republican this year, at least for some. I think I'm gonna go back and forth. Depending on what I think. But I was really impressed by the gentleman. So. And his viewpoint. So there you go. Those of you that say I'm always a lefty.
Well, and Brad has this strong belief, maybe not when you get down to the state level, but that in order to be president, you should have served in the military. Because he feels like they're less apt to send our children off to war, that they have served their country outside of being a politician. And so, yeah, he thinks that should be a requirement to run for president.
I think I agree with that totally. I also think for any position in politics, you should have to have a 4-year college degree. I think you should be well-rounded and well-educated. Yeah. Because I've met politicians and went, wow, I don't think I'm the smartest guy, but I've met politicians and went, wow, I'm way smarter than him.
Well, I think I told you back when we voted at the primary level, and I was reading the voter pamphlet, and there was candidates that I threw out of my selection process because their write-up was so poorly written that I'm like, if they cannot put together their own bio and sound intelligent, either you got to be smart enough to pay somebody to do it for you, or if you're going to do it yourself and you sound that stupid, you shouldn't be running for political office.
You'd think they'd have somebody that at least reviewed it, right?
Exactly, and they were so poorly written that I was like, oh, I don't want you representing me.
Back to the California, the rolling blackouts. Don't forget 2021, Spokane had blackouts in the older neighborhoods. Power infrastructure couldn't help it. And they say all these things are going to continue as we heat up even more, whether let's not call it global warming caused by humans, we'll call it climate change. As these things continue, whatever it is, it's only going to get worse. And are these hurricanes? So we just had Fiona. It came up the coast, missed everything, and just totally hammered Nova Scotia, Quebec. Now, Ian is expected to make landfall. Of course, I saw some pictures this morning over Cuba with winds of 125 miles an hour. Significant wind and storm surge impacts expected in western Cuba as the storm moves over the island. I wonder if I could pronounce that in a different way. The speed of Ian right now, moving north at 12 miles per hour. So, yes, you can outrun a hurricane.
Well, you might not be able to once it hits land because the winds will be so strong that you won't be able to,
Yep. All right.
It's interesting too. I think, us being on the West Coast, at least off the direct, not directly on the coast, but we don't see hurricanes. We see the occasional tornado. Our biggest issue is forest fires during the summer. We don't even get a terrible amount of snow anymore. But if you can't look at the temperatures that we've had in September and not think that we are undergoing climate change, and, people say, well, global warming, I mean, we look at all the snow we got last winter. And that's why I like that you pointed out it's climate change, because it ends up in those extremes: extremely hot, extremely cold, extreme droughts, extreme floods. I mean, it's those extremes that we're seeing with climate change.
We don't need to argue about what it is. We just need to acknowledge that it's here. And I know when I first started the radio station, during our news strips, I have all the little science programs, and a lot of them deal with climate change. I took a lot of heat over that. People trying to debate it with me or actually complain that we're airing them. But you know what? After like 2-3 years of these wildfires in a row, it stopped. It stopped. And even when people when it was like climate change was at like maybe 5 years ago, and it was really peaking in discussion and people were arguing about it a lot, they wouldn't argue when the smoke was in their face, but when it was gone, they'd start back up. But I've seen that just drop, and more people going, yeah, there's something happening to our planet. Of the debate, it doesn't really matter if it's me or you or industry or cows or whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. It's happening. And how do we, I think the best way to look at climate change is, how do we do the right thing? How do we create less pollution on this planet for our children? How do we keep our own planet healthy? I think that's something, you can go to anybody, no matter what party they're in and what their belief system is, and say, do you want your children or your children's children to have to wear a mask every day of their life? Do you want to see that? No? Then what can we do? What small differences can we do? And there's technology coming out all the time, just like they found out. And I can't remember if I think it was seaweed. If you add seaweed to cows' feed, they stop farting methane. And people think, oh, that's stupid. How could cows be contributing to it? Because we have an abnormal amount of cows on the planet. And I'm not saying be a vegetarian. But we have an abnormal amount of cows on the planet to feed people. And they are anything when you have an excess, just like our own planet's population, it causes problems.
Exactly.
So, on to the hurricane. It's gone to Category 4. It will be off the Florida Keys by tonight. They're saying Tampa is in trouble. Parts of Florida, 20 inches of rain expected along with this.
Isn't that insane? I mean, if we had 20 inches of snow, we'd be like, oh, wow. Now we look at 20 inches of rain.
And if you're going to ask yourself, why are we having more hurricanes and why are they more violent? Because they say, the scientists say, the ocean water has warmed up, and that is causing these storm surges. So not anything that's going away soon. And probably something that we can't even really fight. We just have to prepare for them. But it is going to go right across Florida, the center of Florida pretty much, and just hammer it. Let's say
Crazy.
Conditions, tropical storm conditions may persist in central Florida from Wednesday through Thursday because it's only going 12 miles an hour. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we have friends that went down. She had a training. Her husband flew with her. And yeah, they were supposed to fly home yesterday. They didn't let them fly out. They told them they could fly out today, but I'm not sure why they thought today would be better than yesterday. So we haven't heard from them yet today, but I'm kind of assuming maybe they're not going to be home today. We'll see what happens there. But
All right. What else did I have here? Oh, so I got a question for you. As a woman over 50, how do you feel about, so over the weekend, Gwyneth Paltrow and Shania Twain both doing nude shots and posting them. How do you feel about, they're classy nude shots, but how do you feel about women over 50 posting, posing nude?
I love that statement. Somebody just sent me an awesome little, write-up, I guess it would, and I posted it to some friends on Facebook, but it talks about how undervalued older women are in our the word I'm looking for, community, or in our views, and how we need to embrace that and say, you know what, I have just as much to offer, my country, my community, my wisdom, my talents, all of that. And so I find it very empowering that they do this. I'm not going to let age define me. I'm still beautiful. And even if she wasn't Gwyneth Paltrow and as beautiful as she is, we need to embrace all aspects of a woman's life. And I do that with a group of friends. I mean, we kind of honor the women in our group as they get older as being our teachers and our wise women. And so I think it's awesome.
Do you think it's something that I should do?
You know what? If somebody will take pictures of you and post them somewhere, then go for it.
What do you think if I painted myself in gold and did the same pose that Gwyneth is doing here?
I'm sure you'd look beautiful, Scott.
Right.
Kind of like Midas.
All right. The sad thing about it is I actually have a little side boob too.
Oh, nice.
And I'll apologize right now, being the pig that I am. I couldn't find any shots of Shania that just talked about it. It didn't show any pictures, all blurry or anything like that. But there you go.
Like I said, I love it. I think it's awesome. And I think that we need to, if that's empowering to women of all ages, I think it's really cool.
All right.
So I was going to see if I could, I don't want to read the whole thing to anybody, but I kind of wanted to just give you just a little hint of what this thing was that I posted. And it says, let's see if I can pull it up here. It's women get more beautiful as they grow older, not less. Female youth is only prized in modern culture because it doesn't represent as much of a threat spiritually to anyone who is frightened of divine feminine power. As women grow and mature, they call stronger forces of sacred feminine wisdom. They vibrate with the creative power of their stories. They are more of a force to be reckoned with. They see more, know more, feel more. They put up with a lot less junk. Women are trained into thinking there's something fundamentally wrong with getting older and are coerced into spending money, energy, and power investing in slowing the signs of aging. An enormous vault of divine love is lost. Just think what would happen if all of the women in the world started loving themselves even more with every year that passed. Perhaps a total revolution would occur.
Wow, that's pretty deep, Val.
Yes, I loved that because it kind of reinforces this idea, and seeing Gwyneth Paltrow like that, we need to embrace ourselves as we get older, not try to cover the wrinkles or the saggy body. it's part of growing older. We can't avoid it, so why not embrace it?
Yeah. Yep, and it happens to all of us, unfortunately. I stopped looking in the mirror. Before I get in the shower, so I guess I suffer from the same thing. Before I get in the shower, I actually drape a towel over the mirror so I can't see myself when I get out.
I just take my glasses off.
Oh, I'm blurry and beautiful. All right.
It's kind of like a Snapchat filter that way.
So now, again, was that something you wrote or something you
No,
found?
no,
Okay.
I found it. Actually, a friend sent it to me, and I just thought it was so lovely.
Nice.
Yes.
All right, good job. So I'm not a terribly deep thinker, all right, but I've been really, as you know, Val, but I've been really bothered about the whole shipping of migrants to places unexpected. And yeah, I've had lots of conflicting. I can see both sides of the views of immigration into our country, and I've really struggled with it. And it's really came back to light in my mind with Governor Abbott and DeSantis shipping these people across the country that didn't know where they're going. I know I did like since they were tricked that they've started lawsuits against these individual governors. I think that's pretty cool. I think it's sad that the governor, I think that's probably a crime that DeSantis flew people from Texas to Martha's Vineyard using Florida taxpayers' money. Now, granted, maybe half of them are okay with that, but there's probably a percentage that isn't either. And is that the correct expenditure of your state's taxes? It didn't even have anything to do with Florida. It didn't help Florida. All it was an attention-grabbing ploy. So because I think he wants to run for president. So, but I've struggled with this and realizing there's problems at our border, but then you know what came to me was really like an epiphany was one world.
Mm-hmm.
We're all human. It is one world, and I'm going to use a hypothetical situation, and somebody might say that's bull, but it's not, because it could very easily happen. And I'm going to use Yellowstone. So they say if the Yellowstone caldera erupts, which it could anytime in the next couple hundred years, it could wipe out the planet. So let's say it isn't all the way, but it's bad, and we can no longer live in the better part of the United States because of this. And the people that are left after a catastrophe like that have to go to Canada or Mexico. How do you want to be treated if that happens to you? What are your expectations?
And, I saw a great, it was this information about how right now we have supply chain issues, right? We have inflation. And it was this thing about how immigrants could take us out of both problems, because they would fill those jobs that are keeping that supply chain issue at the forefront. And I thought it was something I'd never thought of, but they're like, we need these immigrants. So if we can take care of supply chain issues, we curb inflation. And I thought it was fascinating, and I don't think people look at it that way. Look at what would happen to our orchards in the middle of the state if we didn't have migrant workers. So there has to be, I always say, you know what? Give them a path to immigration, and they can pay taxes here in our country, and it's a win-win, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, Val, our grandparents on our dad's side, they were immigrants.
Exactly. Everybody, if they look at their ancestors, were immigrants to this country.
Yeah. Ours are
Just
probably a little
because-
closer than some, because it was World
Right.
War One. But yeah.
Well, and is that okay because we're Caucasian? I mean, we can go that direction too if we want.
But that's racist.
So,
Val.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's okay for the white the white Caucasians to immigrate to this country, but if we look outside of, if we is it not okay because they're Hispanic, Portuguese?
Venezuelan.
Where is your issue coming? Yeah, and to blame crime on them is ridiculous. We've got plenty of idiots committing crime in this country without them even if they weren't coming in. So
I had
anyway, I'll take a breath now.
I managed a mobile home park years ago, and it was 85% Hispanic. And I had a Caucasian gentleman in the office screaming and yelling, complaining about that. And I sent him packing, and he really got mad before he left because the people that caused the problems in the park were Caucasian. Because Hispanics, there was a chance probably somebody in a household might be illegal, and they don't want any problems, and they don't want any attention. So I remember, you never took flack for anything. I remember I was driving through the park one day after a weekend, and somebody had painted their house neon blue. And I stopped and I said, you can't do that. It has to, the rules in the park, it has to be white, tan, or brown, or shades of any of those mixed together. And within a few days, they had repainted the mobile home without complaining.
Mm-hmm.
And what I said to this gentleman as he was screaming about it and he was leaving, I said, all the problems that you cause, I said, I just assumed this park was 100% Hispanic, and I was serious.
Well, I mean, they're such a hardworking. Our migrants, I should say, our migrant workers are so hardworking. And like you say, the majority don't cause problems. They just want to work hard, make some money to take care of their family.
They're very family oriented.
And I love those values. I love them.
Americans
could,
especially Hispanics,
learn a lot.
You could learn a lot from Hispanics and how they treat their families, their elders, their aging. You could learn a lot. We could be better. So
we could.
All right.
We
So
could.
there's immigration, and that's just what I wanted to say. What if it was you? What if something bad happened and everybody's driven out of Washington? Even if you're staying in the United States, how do you want to be treated when you cross the border into Idaho? They might not be too friendly to us in Idaho. Just saying.
Well, just saying.
What if? And sooner or later, it will happen. It's the way the planet goes. We are not immune from a geological catastrophe that could drive people out of their homes. Sooner or later, it could happen. And what if it was something bad like Yellowstone, and you had to go to Canada, you had to go to Mexico? That's just my thing. Just think about it. How would you want to be treated? Would you want to be fooled and flown somewhere else that you didn't expect?
Well, and you look at the people that are having to leave Ukraine and how other countries around there have taken them in and embraced them. They're leaving a war-torn country. But when you look at the state of things in Mexico and the drug cartels and the living conditions, but we're not willing. I mean, they're basically leaving a horrible situation.
And that's where these people from Venezuela that ended up in Texas, that's what they were fleeing the exact kind of atrocities, and that's what happened to them. So we didn't welcome them with open arms because they were in trouble. So and you can just some of them could be criminals. Well, some of those Ukrainians going into Poland could have been criminals.
Right. Yeah. And like I said, we've got enough of our own here in the country. We can't blame it. We can't blame it on immigrants or migrants.
Yes. All right, time check. It's KCHW Chihuahua. I think I'm going to throw a couple of these last stories away. There was a cute one out of, what was the town? You can search it for yourself. Escambia County Sheriff's Office in Florida. Would-be robber was coming in to rob a Quickie Mart. And the employee saw him gearing up with his gun and stuff, so he went in the back and got his own gun. And confronted him, and nobody got shot. The would-be robber took off, but that's kind of funny.
My gun's bigger than your gun.
Mm-hmm. Whole bunch of news coming out this morning as we head toward tomorrow and another hearing for the January 6th committee, saying they're having a hard time putting all the information together because they've got so much of it at the last minute. Recordings from people on the Trump team saying, "Let the violence begin." That was Roger Stone. You've got proof now that rioters were calling in to people at the White House, giving reports through the White House switchboard. I mean, it just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And at what point do we just go, wow, how much is enough? And what kind of person, and I'm going to use, they make fun of him. He used to be our vice president. I want to say Dan Quell, but that's not
Pence.
him. No, our environmental vice president for
yeah, I just thought of his name just a few minutes ago when we were talking about climate change.
He's just kind of disappeared lately. But because he was embroiled in the count with Bush. And he was a winner, and he could have fought for that. But he said, I don't want to tear apart America with this. And he bowed out and gave the presidency to Bush rather than fighting for it in Florida, which he probably would have lost anyways. But what kind of person has done, and a lot of people are going to hate me for this, but I don't care, has done what Trump has done to America and tearing us apart and dividing us, and it just keeps getting deeper and deeper. At what point do we just say, enough is enough? He is not Jesus. Write him off. This needs to end for the health of our country. And a stand-up person, I think, would.
He's continuing. The scary thing for me, no matter whether you believe he was deeply involved in the insurrection on January 6th, he is calling his supporters right now to violence, to take, he at his rallies, or the rallies he's doing, he is asking his people, telling them he should be president, and asking them by whatever means to get him back into office.
While wearing a Q on his lapel.
For QAnon, yes, he's calling his people to violence now. And so that, whether you believe he was involved in January 6th, doesn't matter at this point. But you should see by his actions now that he probably was, because he's continuing the same rhetoric. Yeah. And so that to me is scary. And it's really scary, the people that are running for office now who are still
repeating that,
disputing the legitimacy of the election. And what I feel like it's doing for democracy is scaring me as much as climate change.
Can I scare you a little more?
Go for it.
Over half the states in the U.S. have an election denier that has a potential to win, whether it's in the Senate, a governor. Over half the states, this next election could tear down democracy.
You know what doesn't make sense to me, though? You're an election denier, but if you don't think the elections process is legitimate, so when you're elected into office, how do you deal with that type of conundrum, that hypocrisy? The election system is broken, but I got elected, so now it's fine. But if my opponent had gotten elected, it would still be broken. You can't play both sides like that, can you?
Well, and it's a denial, too, because they said Democrats were cheating. But now we have all this video proof of fake electors. I mean, it's how do you deny the video footage? It's grainy. It's obviously not been, CGI'd or whatever. But you have multiple locations around the country where they found it was the opposite. And that's a tactic where you point the person and say, they did it when you did it.
It's called deflection.
Yeah. So I am really scared for the next election and people that could get elected. But maybe Americans will wake up and go, yeah, every election before this was fine, so it's probably fine too. Not that our system does not have flaws, like the Electoral College. It just seems very flawed. But it's always worked before. Why this one? Because one person said so, and everybody ran with it. That's creepy.
Yes. it shows a certain amount of gullibility, I think. I want people to don't take anybody's word for it. Do your own research. See the facts and not just what you've seen on TikTok or on Facebook. Listen to legitimate news sources. If you don't trust our news sources, listen to NPR, listen to the BBC, listen to other agencies that don't have that bias if you are afraid that media in the United States does have a bias. So there are ways to look outside of this and truly get factual information and not think that somebody is trying to, prosecute Trump, persecute him, either P word. But look at some true informational facts. And I know that people, half of our country probably isn't listening to the January 6th hearings because they feel, again, like that it's a political witch hunt. But at least look at the information.
The truth is still the
At
truth,
least,
and it's out there somewhere.
exactly. And so, and for me, and I've heard before that the people that are truly changing their minds by the hearings are the independents. But I wish that people, if you could look at this preponderance of evidence and still think he wasn't involved in some way, even just through his words, I don't think you're being open-minded.
And you struggled to say that, but it was good to say.
It was good. It was good to say. But there's so much going on in this country right now that I think is going to have serious effects on the upcoming election. We have climate change, inflation, economics, all of that. I'm still not sure how you blame inflation and all of that on our elected officials right now, because this is a supply chain issue. And if we can't get supplies, I don't know how you blame it on current elected officials. But that's just me. But anyway.
Here's the tragedy. Here's the tragedy is, and in debating this with friends of mine that are Republican, is, and it's probably not fair that we don't have a righty on the show right now. But I said, here's the travesty of it all, is that I really liked some of Trump's policies. I think trade with China needed to be gone after. There were so many things. Some of the people he appointed to different agencies, I actually, especially like the FCC, saw amazing changes. I think there was so much potential. If, number one, he would have been nice and he wouldn't have told lies. He would have picked his words carefully. He could have, instead of going down as the person who tore America in half, he could have went down in the history books as the best president ever, and got everybody to love him. I say that's on him. He had the opportunity to be the best president ever, but I think history will show, because the truth will eventually come out on everything, that he was the worst, and he could have been the best, and that's his own failing. So I feel let down.
You had such high hopes.
I had such high hopes. I feel so let down with all the dirt and name calling and you expect. I know some people love that he shoots from the hip and says what it is, but it's generally mean. And whether we might have.
Would you let your kids talk to people like that?
Oh my God! I want my president to be somebody I can be proud of, not somebody I wouldn't let sit with my kids at a dinner table. And that's the tragedy in it. Even if Biden's fake, he appears to be really nice. All right.
Yeah. But I guess what I started to say, there's so many other factors that are playing into the elections right now. And if nothing else, I love that we're seeing more registered voters.
That's the best thing to come out of it, right?
Yeah. And I'm seeing, I think, more women are registering to vote now because of the issues that they are facing. And it was really interesting. We saw something on the news this morning how University of Idaho is preventing their students, the clinic for the University of Idaho students, from offering any sort of birth control for the students on the campus.
Wow.
And it was so, and what was amazing that they said that they could not have any access to birth control. They would still provide condoms, but they had to be used for STDs, not pregnancy prevention. And so it's words like that that I hope get people out to vote.
Don't they realize that's control? If you hate government control, that's a lot of control.
That's a lot of government control right there.
They're even going to tell you what kind of relationship to have and how to use your condom. They're really telling people how to use their condom.
Yes. Only for STDs, people.
Well, then the politicians should put them all over their heads.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Wow.
So, but anyway, I just think there's issues like that are coming up that I hope if you don't agree with that type of action, that type of control that your state government is trying to place on you, the best way to fight that is to show up at the polls. Whether it's our state, Idaho, whatever, show up at the polls, because that's one way for your voice to be heard. And we kind of talked about this last week. You didn't think that our votes really affected the federal elections, but people, they affect your local elections. So you need to get out and vote. Yes.
I think they should call Idaho West Dakota. Oops.
And I know that people embrace some of the things like, about Idaho. You can, your right to have as many guns as you want, whatever it may be. I know that people really embrace that part of Idaho. But if you want those types of freedoms, why does it stop at a woman's freedom? And so, yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
Well, since we're talking politics, Biden turning up the heat on himself by promising to end hunger in the United States, including more benefits, more food benefits. So I'm sure he's going to take a lot of that, an ambitious goal of ending hunger by 2030 by expanding monthly benefits over the next 7 years to help low-income Americans buy food. We send help all over the planet. We should maybe help those that need it in our own country. But I don't necessarily believe just by increasing benefits is not going to solve the problem because population keeps growing and our food sources keep dwindling because of climate change.
And we're not letting people have access to contraceptions. Right?
Yeah.
The planet's only going to grow at that point. Kids aren't going to stop having sex. So, what do you want? It's that dichotomy of thinking. You have to, if you're going to basically force women to have more children, then you have to feed them in some way.
So I read something that if it wasn't for the Industrial Revolution, our planet could only sustain 1 billion people. Well, as we pass 8 billion people, we have to wake up and really stop growing. We have to control and a lot of people will totally disagree with that. I know it goes probably against some religions even, but we really have to control the population of this planet or it dooms us all. We are rats in a maze. I love the sci-fi shows or like, Star Trek when they came and they went, wow, look at the planet's been infested by ugly bags of mostly water.
That's what they're talking about us.
It's true. We are the rats in the maze, and we're consuming everything. All right. I
was just going to do a little shout out to Marion this morning. She thinks we're having a very good conversation.
Well, thank you, Marion. Both of you, because I think there's only two.
And Ron. I think Ron appreciates our conversations, too.
All right.
Thank you guys for listening and watching this morning.
Yes. And now a political joke. What do you do with a vice president that's not very popular?
Send her to China to wasn't it China she went to the funeral this morning? State
Oh no
funeral or
no no!
something?
They've set her. They're sending her to the Korean demilitarized zone after Kim's missile test.
Oh.
That's where they send her. All right, that was just a bad joke, but I thought I'd work it in there. All right, a fun one. All right, let's see if I can pull this up on the screen so our people watching the video feed can enjoy these wonderful foods that I'm about to show and see if it strikes any memories for the. This story was on the internet, and it was all about foods that we lost that people wish would return. All right, let's see if I can drag my screen around here. First one, and I don't even remember this. Because I know does McDonald's still have the apple pies?
I have no idea.
So this is the deep fried McDonald's apple pie from the 80s into the beginning of the 90s. Crispy, and it says, and the temperature of molten plutonium inside. It was the best. It does look pretty
Surefire
tasty.
way to give yourself third-degree burns on the roof of your mouth.
I know they deep fried a lot of stuff, but deep frying an apple pie has piqued my interest.
Oh, mine too.
I don't remember Hershey's chocolate milk powder. We're not talking about the standard Hershey's. This was like a chocolate milk mix. You can see it there in purple.
Oh, okay.
It said they discontinued it in favor of their syrup, which was the worst decision ever made, according to this person. Said he would.
I actually remember the powder you could mix in.
Now here's one: the Philadelphia cheesecake bar. I missed out on this one too. It looks delicious.
Oh, it
So,
does.
Candy bar that's a Philadelphia cream cheese, I guess, cheesecake bar.
So, do you remember as a kid, and maybe you will remember the Hershey's chocolate milk mix powder now, because we used to take that, puts that on top of hard ice cream and stir it till you got like a soft serve. And so you ended up with like a chocolate soft serve by
Yes.
putting the Hershey's
Yes.
powder on the top.
Yes, it was very good. All right, this is like some
Ooh, I
form
remember
of Cheerio.
these.
Yeah, I remember the little flour Cheerios.
Yeah, it's got the banana in it, and doesn't it have like fruit shapes in it?
Yep.
Like a raspberry. Yeah.
I don't. Some form of Cheerios. I don't remember these either. PB Crisps by Planters.
Oh, I want to say I kind of remember those too. I don't know though. It looks good.
Yeah, it looks delicious. Now this one, I totally missed out on this too, and I think it's maybe because we grew up in North Dakota, and not everything
be.
makes it to North Dakota. Dr. Pepper berries and cream in a purple can.
I missed out on that too. Yeah.
Delicious. Then they were talking about Little Caesars. I remember these McDonald's snack wraps. Remember you could get like the honey mustard and the barbecue, and then there was another flavor too.
You can't get that anymore? I had no idea you couldn't get those.
No, you
'cause
can't
I
get snack
love
wraps
them.
anymore. No. How long
Wow.
has it been since you? Let's see. Butterfingers BBs. Huh.
Mm.
Did they come with a gun?
Some of these things I didn't know were gone.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so depressed.
I remember these. It was the jelly jar juice glasses. Remember those? You get the juice, and then you got the little glass with it too. All right. That's a benefit if you're watching online for this. I don't remember this one either. I guess it was the very first Sobe elixir. I guess you can't get that anymore.
Pina colada.
Pina colada. All right.
Oh.
They were talking to.
So speaking of
Go ahead.
pina colada, we saw these pina colada Malibu, alcoholic drinks in Safeway, and we were going camping. So we're like, let's buy those to take camping. I couldn't even finish it. I know that's alcohol abuse, and you thought you'd never hear those words coming out of my mouth, but I could not finish this thing. It was so disgusting. And I spent like $10 on a 4-pack. I was so mad.
You used them to put out the fire.
Ugh. They're awful.
I
Anyway,
remember.
sorry.
That's all right. I remember this from Pizza Hut. I remember when you go in and they have the amazing salad bar, all right? And you could get pitchers of beer and Pepsi. Like the pitchers at your table. I guess they don't do that anymore. Somebody was complaining about that. Somebody else missing the actual dollar menu at McDonald's.
I liked their McChicken sandwiches that were on the dollar menu. Those things were good.
Dunkaroos. I guess cinnamon Teddy Grahams with confetti cake icing. I don't remember those either.
All right.
But you can see it there on the camera. You got your things to dunk in icing. Now, that seems extra healthy. Do you remember the apple empanada from Taco Bell? Another deep-fried apple.
I don't remember that. Oh, Michelle says that I sound like I'm in another dimension this morning. I don't know if that means I have a little bit of a weird hollow sound to me, but she said, "Good morning, you guys," and Val sounds like you're in another dimension.
Weird. All right, you sound fine on my end. I heard you break up a couple times, but all right.
Okay. It's probably because I'm pulling my mouth away from the microphone.
Oh, or you could be breaking up a little bit on her feed, which might make you sound like that. Not quite sure.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right.
And one of the last ones here I'll hit on that people miss from different foods was all-day breakfast at McDonald's, and I can totally agree with that one. All-day breakfast. All right.
I know. Now I'm hungry.
Now you're hungry? Well, we can go to break, but first, let's throw some trivia at each other. I'm going to do yesterday's, and you get to do today's.
Oh.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
All right, so we're going to do, I guess, a little brother versus sister. All right, I'm having a hard time with the camera here. Hold on. Get us back on track, maybe. Well, maybe I could just do a logo. No, can't do that either. Sorry, I'm having technical problems all the way from Maine. All right, well, let's move along with trivia. You got any questions for me, Val?
I do. The first one, the word facetious is unique for what reason, Scott?
Does it have all the vowels in order?
How did you get that?
I pictured the word and then I spelt it to myself.
It does. It contains all the vowels in the correct order. A-E-I-O-U.
I kind of haven't massaged it in a long time, but to have a photographic memory, just like picturing the word in my head and looking at it. I used to be able to do that before cell phones with signs. Somebody say, well, what's the number for Poor Boys Auto? I could picture their sign or the front of their building and their sign, or, if it had a number on it, and read the phone number off it. But not so good at that anymore. But it is a thing. All right.
It is a thing.
It is a thing. All right. My turn. All right. 10% of us wake up this way each day.
Grumpy.
Probably more than 10%, Val.
Oh, okay. Wake up this way each morning without an alarm?
Yes. Wow. All right.
All right, your turn. By age 70, an average person will have lost 105 pounds of what? By age 70.
Skin.
You're right.
That was a guess because I myself am a shedder.
You probably lost way more than that.
Uh-huh.
I'm a shedder.
I'm a shedder. Yeah, sorry. All right, let's see. I don't have a whole bunch. I've only had a couple. That's so wrong. All right, so I'm going to give you this answer wrong and win. So we want stupid answers. Name a sport in which the players wear helmets.
Beer pong.
Beer pong with golf balls. All right. You place this under a computer mouse to help it move more smoothly.
Your cat.
Oh.
Under a mouse.
Oh, I get it. Where's the Great Wall of China located?
New York.
Uh-huh. And the classic TV show Knight Rider featured a talking what?
I think that Knight Rider horse.
Talking. Ooh. Wild Wild West Knight Rider. I like it. All right. Go ahead. I'm out of trivia questions for you.
Oh, good. I've got more for you.
All right.
Nearly 60% of us describe ourselves as amazing at this. Nearly 60%.
Some 2 for 2, right?
You are 2 for 2.
60%. Describe.
Make it a hat trick.
Communication.
Not communication.
Cooking.
Nope, not cooking either. Let's see if I can give you a good hint for this one.
Can I say loving?
Well, you are so hot right now. You're
Kissing.
so close. Yes, kissing.
Ooh.
60% of people think they're great or they're amazing at kissing.
Huh. Huh.
Uh,
So I started off with
all
loving.
right.
You know what I think about myself. Yep, I'm the best.
You're the best. I got an answer wrong and win for you.
Okay.
What is the typical halftime entertainment during a Super Bowl?
Gambling.
It's really close. They're probably gambling on, the final score or something. What color are UPS trucks?
Red.
That's what I thought too. What you burn in a fireplace to give you a nice cozy flame?
Classified documents. If you're smart. If you're not that smart,
You don't hide.
you just leave them lying on your floor.
And boxes around the office. Yeah. I was going to say divorce papers for you. Besides brick, name something you would cover the outside of a house with.
Besides brick, something you cover the outside of a house with. Fur?
I was thinking toilet paper.
Oh, I like your idea. Your idea seems a lot easier. I don't like to hurt animals or shave them. How many cats would I have to shave to cover my house?
I don't know. I was thinking, we probably covered some houses with TP when we were younger.
Yeah, it was a thing.
It was a thing. And finally, what you put on the dirt to grow grass.
Well, I have a private backyard, so I'm going to say urine.
So we need to keep coyotes away, I think, is some urine on the grass.
Ooh, that might be a good idea, actually.
Yeah, I'm thinking. So
Mark your territory. That's all I'm saying.
And do you have time for one more? Because I can pick on you all day.
Okay. I'm doing pretty well, surprisingly, because I usually bomb at trivia, so okay.
You're doing good. I'll ask you an easy question. You just need to give me 5 answers in 15 seconds.
Oh, man.
All right. Are you ready? You have 15 seconds to name 5 first names starting with the letter W.
That's a hard one. William the
Yes.
First, William the Second, William the Third.
Oh, you totally bombed that one.
Shut up, Wesley.
Wesley, Wanda, Wade, William. Would be one more. Waylon. I don't know.
Waylon. That's a tough one. What about girl names with W's?
Well, I threw Wanda in there. Wanda, Willametta.
Oh, we have a sister
That's
named Wanda, and I wouldn't even have guessed that one.
I'm trying to think of other W ones for women, though. That's a little bit harder.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
Big round of applause for both of us.
Because we deserve
Was that everything, Val?
That was everything on my end.
All right. Let's see. Let's do, can we do this before we go to break? What Scott thinks about in the shower? I mean, since I have it
No.
already. Are you sure? All right, first thing. A buffet is leftovers for everyone who does not eat first. I don't know if that's good or not. To a dog, food on the floor is his property, and all other food ought to be on the floor.
Well, that is a dog for you.
Some people do more miles with their thumbs on phones than they do walking.
I know that one for sure.
There's a new thing, too. It's thumb tendonitis. It's a thing.
It is a thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like carpal tunnel, but just your thumb,
Just
right?
your thumbs. A question is a quest for information. Deep.
Okay.
Deep. People don't
Yeah.
like Fridays because of Fridays. They like Fridays because of Saturdays. And the last one, man, I learned the hard way. You don't get pickle juice from juicing pickles. Spent all day on that one. So sad.
Oh, you did, huh?
So sad.
Uh-huh.
It's very sad.
You went out and tried, though, just to make sure.
Yes. Yeah, and, and it's so embarrassing because I actually got a phone call. I said, I can't talk right now. I'm busy juicing pickles.
And then milking the cat.
Yeah. All right. When I come back from break, I will drink a full glass of cat milk. Ew. All right.
Ew.
Just remember
We're sick and wrong.
Yeah, my sister's disgusting. All right, when we come back, it's bits and breaks for today. We'll also have our odd news as we wrap up the show. Stick around. It's Northern Lights Public Radio, KCHW 102.7. Back in 5.
Over 20 different genres of music each week. You're listening to the Music Education Station, Northern Lights Public Radio, KCHW 102.7. Your KCHW morning show made possible by a donation from God-Fearing Brothers Auto Center. God-Fearing Brothers specializes in auto services, including repair, maintenance, and detailing. They also stock a full selection of tires, make glass repairs, offer towing, and have an auto sales lot on the corner of Highway 395 and Main Street at the light. For more information, you can visit the Auto Service Center at 806 East Main in Chewelah. Find them online at godfearingbrothers.com or by phone at 509-935-6414. KCHW FM thanks God-Fearing Brothers for supporting public radio in Stevens County.
The Public News Service Daily Newscast, September the 27th, 2022. I'm Mike Clifford. Massachusetts residents
Ron shared a picture with me yesterday, and it really got me thinking. Ron shared a picture with me yesterday, thinking.
Many years there on the island and really know how to get support to the island.
He says the need is great. More than a week after Hurricane Fiona made landfall, hundreds of thousands of people remain without water or electricity. Roads are washed out, many schools are closed, and families remain in shelters. I'm Catherine Carley reporting.
President Biden has said the federal government would fully cover the cost of relief efforts in Puerto Rico for the next month. And House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has suggested the use of community block grants to train workers on the island to repair infrastructure damage. It has been more than 50 years since the White House held a gathering about the effects of hunger.
In 1969, the White House held its first and only conference on hunger, nutrition, and health. On Wednesday, the Biden administration is reviving the meeting, bringing together members of Congress and groups working to fight food insecurity. Eric Williams with Second Harvest Inland Northwest says it's very timely, considering the recent pressures on families.
We all were spinning and pedaling really, really hard during the pandemic, and we kind of got through that and thought, well, thank goodness that's better, and things like hunger will be reduced. And then first of the year, inflation hit.
Williams says between 2021 and 2022, need has gone up 35% in the network his organization serves. The conference will be streamed live online and include remarks in the afternoon from President Joe Biden. I'm Eric Tegedoff reporting.
Now from NBC News, with Hurricane Ian growing stronger and marching northward, Florida on Monday began ordering evacuations and preparing for possible floods. By late Monday afternoon, Ian was moving northwest at about 13 miles an hour, about 150 miles southeast of the western tip of Cuba. This is PNS. As part of National Recovery Month, a new tool identifies different areas in the U.S. in need of stronger recovery systems for people dealing with substance abuse.
The Recovery Ecosystem Index Mapping Tool is an online data set of recovery ecosystems across the country. It uses a bevy of indicators from availability of treatment and transportation to income, age, and disability access to determine where people are seeing real recovery from substance abuse. Michael Meat with the East Tennessee State University Center for Rural Health Research says the tool has made some interesting findings so far.
What we noticed is the areas that have had the greatest challenge with substance use disorder tend to have the strongest recovery ecosystems. And that kind of makes sense because those are the areas that have needed to respond. They have a community where there's need and the communities come together to respond.
He adds those areas that haven't been as greatly affected by substance abuse tend to have weaker recovery ecosystems. He notes the others with the biggest addiction problems and strongest recovery systems are not seeing a cycle of abuse and recovery, but people there are able to remain successful in their recovery. I'm Edwin J. Vieira.
And as the drought grinds on, hydroponic farming is getting a fresh look because California growers can produce a juicy vine-ripened tomato with 90% less water.
The plants are raised in a greenhouse, and with no soil to keep wet, they're very water efficient. Scott Balick with Balick Family Farms in Fillmore says he's got it down to a science.
We're pretty precise. Our drippers are pressure compensated, and they're literally putting out half a gallon per hour. So all the nutrients are combined. Every single nutrient that a tomato plant needs, we've added to the water.
Large-scale field-grown tomato crops are mainly processed into ketchup or soups, but that may become less profitable if the drought drives up water prices. This story was produced with original reporting from Kaylee Wells with KCRW in association with Solutions Journalism Network. This is Suzanne Potter reporting.
Finally, Mary Sherman tells us education officials in Ohio want state leaders to invest in free school meals for all students.
Pandemic-era federal waivers that enabled schools to offer breakfast and lunch at no cost expired in June, meaning families in need of assistance have to income qualify for federal school meal programs. For a family of four, it's about $51,000 a year for reduced price meals and $36,000 for free meals. At the Wellington Exempted Village School District, Nutrition Services Director Andrea Helton worries that kids will fall through the cracks.
A lot of those other factors that go into providing food for children every single day.
This is Mike Clifford for Public News Service, member and listener supported, heard on radio stations big and small, your favorite podcast platform. Find your trust indicators at publicnewsservice.org.
And we're back just that fast. It's KCHW 102.7. Scott and Val on a Tuesday. We were full of hot air the first half of the show. So hopefully
As always.
Hopefully you're here for the second half. A little more fun and games. Val, let's start off with you. Can you think of, I like this one, we'll just touch on it briefly, what your parents told you later in life? All right. What did our mom tell us later in life that rocked our world? Can you think of anything?
Well, she told me something recently, well, within the last couple years, but I'm not sure if it was, I don't know if she was remembered falsely in the past or remembered falsely this time. Because she told me for years and years that, because there's 12 years between our sister and I, and she had told me my whole life that when it came to how I came about after all that many years, that I was an oops, and then they decided to have you so that I wouldn't be an only child second time around. And then after years, my whole life of telling me that, then she told me rather recently that it was the other way around, that I was planned and you were an oops. And so it may not seem like that big a deal, but to be told one story your whole life and then have it change, you're like, Mom, which one of these stories is true?
You mean I'm the oops?
Yeah, that's what she said. You were the oops.
She never shared that with me, so it must be true, because you don't want to share it with the person that was the oops. Huh.
Well, I'd always grown up believing I was the oops.
Oh, that's horrible, because then you have that unwanted feeling, right?
I could go down a whole rabbit hole. I kind of used to pray that at times that I was adopted.
All right, now all those feelings that you had, you've just passed on to me. Thanks. Wish I would have brought that
What
up.
about you? Was there any like stories you heard later that you were like, oh my gosh?
No, but I got,
Can't believe
I
I
had
never
fun
knew
one
this.
time when I was in my mid-20s telling my mom everything I did wrong that she didn't know about. Talk about fun. And she just kind of sat there with her mouth open. And yeah. One of them was, the last half of my senior year, Mom, I snuck out every night. I didn't even sleep at home. She was like, what? And I said, yeah, as soon as Dad started snoring, I was out the window.
Oh, funny.
Never got caught either. All right. Pretty cool.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, not really. Don't try that at home. Kids?
Yes.
Really? No, seriously, don't try that at home. All right, let's see. I got lost here for a second. We were talking about the hurricane in the last break. Then we talked about, a geological event that would cause Americans to have to become migrants, like Yellowstone blowing up. If something like that happened, Val, what should we have in our go bag? I thought this was kind of fun to discuss.
Okay. I always like, because summers around here means that you are kind of, you're always on alert in case a fire gets close to you. And so I can just feed off of that. In my go bag, it's titles to vehicles. It is photo albums. And then it is my computer, because a whole lot, I would say, any photos that I don't have printed off, so probably photos from the last 15 years are most likely on my computer. So that would be what I would want to have ready to take with me.
So now on Bits and Breaks, there's a whole list of them that include chocolate and energy bars. None of the things you mentioned are on there. Well, or maybe one you forgot. Extra change of clothes, a sleeping mat and a light blanket, toilet paper, notebook, and pen. A copy of your keys. A lighter, candles, and a flashlight. Plastic bags and latex gloves. Small first aid kit. Rechargeable batteries. A whistle. Packing tape. A water bottle. Important documents and contacts pre-scanned into your smartphone. Okay, there you go. So for your titles and stuff like that.
Right. That's interesting to go bag when you're fleeing fast, because I always felt like maybe it'd be way different if you were in that situation, but I felt like, okay, I can replace clothes, anything like that. What I was surprised by this list is how many first aid things were there, and I guess I wouldn't have even thought of that.
There you go. Because you could get wounded, bit by a rattlesnake.
The packing tape is interesting.
Well, I think it should say duct tape, because you can do anything with duct tape, and it works as a Band-Aid.
There you go. Yeah.
And it'll draw out infection. So.
All right.
Let's move on. Val, You've ruined a superhero's name by changing just one letter. What did you change him to?
All right. How about Iron Pan instead of Iron Man? Their powers include incredibly even heat distribution. Iron Pan. How about Daredevil? Caring, but about nobody.
Daredevil. All right.
Daredevil. How about Black Panther? He's a superhero, but only in his neighborhood.
You gotta keep it local, baby.
The Incredible Sulk. If you can stop him from whining about everything, he'll save the day.
Nobody likes me. I'm big and I'm green. All right.
Yeah. And then finally, Ponder Woman. The victim's like, help me, I'm being robbed. And Ponder Woman's like, should I? Let me think about it.
I think you could be Ponder Woman.
Are you saying I overthink?
No. All right. We've heard this before. We're going to tell you again because there's so many wonderful things you can do with Coca-Cola. Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
All right.
Okay.
Time-tested things. Relieve a jellyfish sting. Just pour Coke over it.
Oh, is it all the acid in it?
I guess so. I don't know. I don't
Or
want
is
to
it the sodium?
I don't want to get stung by a jellyfish to find out. But you could try it with a bee sting. Right.
Oh, yeah. Good.
All right. Rumor is you can cure a case of diarrhea. Wish I would have known this yesterday.
I wish I didn't know that today.
Oh, that chili cook-off. Ow. All right. Let the Coke go flat and warm up to room temperature and have a glass every few hours.
Okay.
All right. No more hiccups? Gargle with a good mouthful of Coca-Cola. There's one we can all try.
I can't imagine gargling with Coca-Cola.
Fix a slippery dance floor. Amy, a set designer in Los Angeles, shared if we're going to shoot a dance scene or a fight scene in a place that's potentially slippy floors, we mop the floor with Coke and let it get sticky for up to a few minutes before they do the scene. Then we don't have to worry about the actors slipping and falling anymore.
And then your job is to clean up the sticky floor.
Ooh, yuck. You can clean burnt food from a pan. Just let it set in there, I guess, a little bit.
Okay.
A bad hair day, Val. Pour a can of flat Coke onto long hair and leave it for a few minutes before washing thoroughly for perfect separated curls.
Oh, again, they'd be sticky.
Yeah. A gum in your hair? Just take the gum-coated hair and dip it in a small bowl of Coca-Cola. Just set for a few minutes upside down, then wipe the gum away. And shower, maybe.
Yeah. Probably eat your hair away.
We've heard this about bolts and stuff, but you can clean antique coins by soaking them in Coca-Cola.
Oh, that's interesting.
I have a nice brass tray that needs to be cleaned. I wonder if I could soak that in Coca-Cola.
I was thinking that, too. I'm wondering how it would do on brass or copper.
Coca-Cola cleans tile and grout. It's also a laundry enhancer. You can add a can of Coca-Cola to your wash along with your regular detergent to get rid of hard-to-remove smells and stains. Ooh.
Very interesting.
You might need to do that with Brad for at least the smell portion.
Hold still, honey, while I sprinkle you with Coca-Cola.
A stain remover from...
Here's just a little spritz, baby, under your arms. Lift up your arm. Just a little spritz.
Ooh. It sounds refreshing. I'm going to try this in the driveway. From oil stains to in the driveway to stains on the carpet, Coca-Cola can move it all away.
That's interesting.
Oil stains. I'm going to try that. I've got one.
It seems weird on your carpet, though. Again, don't you have sticky residue? I'm stuck on the sticky residue.
You are really stuck on the sticky residue. Well, how about toilet cleaner? Pour some fizzy Coke into your toilet bowl, let it sit for an hour, flush. You've got a shiny, clean toilet bowl. I'm going to try some of these. All right. I guess the best thing after letting it sit in your toilet bowl, you could still drink it. It's clean.
Again, update me on the sticky residue.
And as a drain opener, pour a can of Coca-Cola down your drain once a month to keep it from clogging. I had no idea you could do all those things with Coca-Cola.
Just think what it does when you pour it down your throat.
Oh.
Prevents clogging.
Like, kind of like Drano, right?
Exactly.
Ooh, all right. Let's see here.
Quick hello to Christopher, who's listening this morning.
All right.
Good day to you as well.
All right. Appreciate those listeners on the Facebook and the YouTubes. All right. Moving along this morning as we wrap up the show. I think we're just down to a few minutes. We should probably do our odd news, but just because of the Coca-Cola thing, I did want to play this sound effect.
It's true what they say. Cops and women don't mix. It's like eating a spoonful of Drano. Sure, it'll clean you out. It'll leave you hollow inside.
Slap some bacon on a biscuit and let's go. We're burning daylight.
It's the world of strange. A world gone wacky.
Out here, due process is a bullet.
And some of the scariest people on the planet.
I think you're bluffing. Be afraid.
You know, you look mighty pretty when you get mad.
It's your odd news on KCHW.
Just sit back and enjoy the show.
Whoop, whoop, here we go. It's your odd news. I always start off with the news attack where the first sentence is true, second sentence, bad joke, and here comes Val.
Oh, I get to start with the bad jokes. Amazon is holding another Prime Day next month. It's the second one this year. Because you know what? Leftovers are the best.
This is stuff we couldn't sell. Right. NASA's mission to what?
I was just going to say, I think they're just, hoping for the early Christmas shopping.
Probably. NASA's mission to slam a spacecraft into an asteroid Monday was a success. Yes. And now that's something I'd like to see at the Super Bowl halftime show. I should have gave that as my answer earlier.
You should have.
Yeah.
You should have.
So this is kind of cool, actually. This is an attempt to research protecting Earth from an asteroid. They've slammed this spacecraft into it, and I don't know if it had explosions or just the fuel on it or what, but now they're trying to see how it has changed the trajectory.
You know what? And my husband, the conspiracy theorist that he is, thinks that that they're just telling us it was an experiment when they were really actually saving the world.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. All right. Hey, NASA's mission to slam a spacecraft into an asteroid Monday was a success. The mission cost over $300 million. It came under budget because the spacecraft was used was a Hyundai accent.
All right, janitor.
I want to see a Hyundai accent rolled at an asteroid.
Yeah.
That should be the Super Bowl halftime show.
How about a Tesla so we can see what those batteries really do? Janitor in Austria who got tired of cleaning floors in dentist offices stole a diploma and some dental equipment. Set up a practice, treated over 60 people before he was caught. I think I just visited him.
Oh, no.
Police say some of the patients got suspicious when he asked them to rinse and spit and then mop and glow. Whatever.
I was waiting for Coca-Cola to be part of that joke. Survey finds men lie 3 times a day while women lie 2 times a day. Or am I lying about the survey? Scott, you're a man.
Yeah.
Are you lying?
Yes, I am. I lie all the time. 3 times a day, rookie numbers. All right. A study found that if you want to reconnect with your significant, you should take a road trip. And if you want to unconnect from your significant, take a road trip and bring along a mother-in-law. Or your girlfriend. Last time I said that, I had a joke about that. It was like a wife joke, and then I said, or my girlfriend. And, man, Michelle didn't like that. She, picked on me the next day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she gave it to me. Huh.
Oh.
All right.
But too bad she isn't here to give it to you now.
I know. I deserve it.
A study found a link between sodas and an early death. Again, back to the Coca-Cola thing.
Yes.
But it's mainly from the revenge of a falling vending machine that was just kicked.
Ooh. I want to see more YouTube videos of that. Somebody shaking the machine and it falling on them. But then I've heard there's actually a fair amount of deaths that happen each year from rocking a vending machine.
And what's that called? What award do you get when you do that?
Darwin Award.
The Darwin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Possibilities are high. Let's see. Research indicates that having to deal with modern technology is keeping older brains like mine more fit than in previous generations. Older folks no longer sit on the front porch and wave at people. They just post pictures of themselves waving on Instagram. All right, on to the world of wacky but true. And I'm going to do a disclaimer because more than half of the story's totally disgusting. You might want to get your in-flight vomit bag ready, especially for the first one. Val, are you comfortable doing this?
I can do this.
You can.
A woman in the UK was hospitalized thanks to her daughter's dog. Amanda Cuomo spent 3 days in the hospital after Belle, a Chihuahua, had a little accident on her face, including in her mouth, causing her to become violently ill and requiring medical treatment. Maybe now you know what was in that chili, Scott.
Oh, Chihuahua.
Cuomo said she was cuddling the dog while taking an afternoon nap when it became ill and had violent diarrhea with some of the excrement falling into her mouth. Gomer was later taken to hospital after falling ill with a gastrointestinal infection that had been passed on from Belle.
Oh.
Ooh, I thought a cat sneezing in my eye was bad, but
No, much, much worse. much worse. Wow.
Oh, disgusting.
Yeah, I hate Chihuahuas too. Never met a Chihuahua I liked. All right, totally disgusting. One down. A would-be car thief in Japan was nabbed after he tried to steal a vehicle that actually had several police officers inside of it. Man was caught.
Oh, it's been a long time since we got a good dumb criminal story.
Man was caught red-handed trying to make off with the unmarked police car. It was dark, and the thief didn't notice the officers inside the locked vehicle. All right, hold on.
Jeez, I'm an idiot.
A man in China was fined for driving a car without a windshield and using a plastic stool as a front seat. At least it wasn't a commode.
Huh. I've seen a lawn chair, but never a plastic commode. You know what he calls it?
What?
I shall call him Mini-Me.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I picture like that little tiny porta potty. Or like driving on top of one of those buckets with the toilet lid. One of the 5-gallon pails. It's totally safe. I'm wearing a seatbelt.
Unless it's just in case you scare the crap out of yourself.
Oh, wow. It's better than sleeping next to a Chihuahua. That's all I could say. Val?
Oh, I get the next one too?
Is it your turn? I got confused by the one-liner.
No, it's your turn.
Okay, Lexington, Kentucky high school has a major pest problem. Here's our next gross story. Nathan Spalding, an English teacher at the Henry Clay School, posted a picture on Facebook of a snake curled up on his phone, which he says is just one example of how pests have invaded the building. Kentucky Fish and Wildlife staff identified it as a baby rat snake, which fell through a gap in the ceiling tiles. Wow. What a teaching opportunity that is. Spalding said that
if you're not running screaming from the room.
Spalding said that on the same day, a mouse fell from the ceiling of a different classroom, and another colleague has had 3 mice fall from the ceiling of her classroom since school started last month. Spalding wrote, "Our school is infested with roaches, spiders, and mice. Our school now seems to have a nest of snakes living in the ceiling as well. Just another day of living the dream of a teacher." Right.
Kind of sounds like our Congress, our Capitol.
Oh, they're falling from the ceilings?
Roaches, spiders, and mice and snakes living in the ceiling.
Principal sent a letter to families saying school leaders and maintenance staff are addressing the issue, but plan to do nothing about it. Huh. All right. I don't know if this sound effect fits. Let's check.
Dear Mr. Potter, we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry.
Oh, snakes and... Oh, now it makes sense. It's Hogwarts. Totally makes sense.
No, totally.
Totally.
A boy in the UK got stuck in a washing machine after being dared to climb inside by his sister. The 6-year-old was released after rescue crews were called to his parents' house. Firemen think the boy climbed in legs first, and once he was in there, couldn't find a way to get himself out. The machine, thank goodness, was never turned on.
Oh, really? That would have been like a highlight for the story. You can hear the tumbling sounds. And
his sister had washed him.
that reminds me, never go in legs first. Makes it rougher to get out. Totally. All right, let's check this one out.
That is your grandson, huh? Oh, wonderful boy. Nice boy you are. He's a good boy, I'll tell you. Now I know why tigers eat their young.
All right, last one in Czechia. Czechia, I've never even heard of that. Like Czechoslovakia? Czechia? All right.
Maybe.
And in this country, anyway, prison guards heard something unusual from an inmate's cell one night. They heard something interesting from his cell. It sounded like a radio, which prisoners are not allowed to have. Oh, this is our third gross story, by the way. They pulled the guy out and searched the cell, but the noise seemed to be coming from the convict's body. Or booty, specifically. Guards heard voices come out of the inmate's rear end. That's true. Who's going to go down there and listen? Come on. No. So
where's that coming from?
After they strip searched him and inspected, they found a tiny walkie-talkie he had shoved up there.
Huh. How did he push the button to talk back?
I don't know. You got to clench really hard.
Oh, no.
I'm demonstrating on camera.
And as impossible as it was, he had an idea.
Under interrogation, yeah, quit picturing it, Val. I can see the cops all with their heads tilted and they're cupping their ears. Under interrogation, the con admitted that he used the radio to communicate with his wife. How did he
push the button?
She would park her car a couple hundred yards down the road from the prison and converse with him on the walkie-talkie. Yeah, how does two-way communication work like that?
That's what I'm wondering.
My brain shall hurt the rest of the day, but this'll make it better.
A cute button nose, thick wavy locks, taut round buttocks. I'm
gorgeous. I'll say. I'm Jill. What's your name?
Shrek.
Shrek? Wow. Are you from Europe?
You're
so tense. I want to rub his shoulders. I got it covered. Thanks. I don't have anything to rub. Well, get in line.
Oh, this has to be one of the best stories ever.
Ever done on Odd News. All right. If you missed any portion of that story, you can watch it again on YouTube or Facebook. There you go. Congratulations. It's our gift to you. Wow. And I want to thank my sister for being here this morning. Yay, Val, live from Deer Park. Yay. All right. Having a hard time when I applause. I will not call you on a walkie-talkie later.
Oh, please don't.
Hold on. What's that? Hello? Can you hear me now?
You're breaking up. You're breaking up.
Strange sounds.
That's great. Go ahead, make your jokes, mister. Joke maker.
I'm going to think about this the rest of the day. Have a great one. Keep on listening to Northern Lights Public Radio.
It's 9:04.
You're listening to Northern Lights Public Radio on 102.7 KCHW. Shawila, Addie, Gifford. listening to Northern Lights Public Radio on 102.7 KCHW. Chewelah, Colville, Kettle Falls.